This time of year, weight loss seems to be on everyone's mind. And when it comes to weight loss, it's best to know your numbers, especially how many calories your body burns at rest, or what we call your basal metabolic rate. A quick hit today on the Personal Edge Fitness Podcast.
Welcome to the Personal Edge Fitness Podcast with Garrett Williamson. Health, wellness, exercise, nutrition, and a whole lot more. Got questions? Call us and leave a message at 251-278-EDGE or message us at Personal Edge Fitness on Facebook and Instagram, at Team PE on Twitter, or personaledgefitness.com.
Good day and welcome to the Personal Edge Fitness Podcast. Thank you so much for joining us. This is Garrett Williamson, president of Personal Edge Fitness, speaking today about your basal metabolic rate. Now, this is a quick hit, so I'm going to go through this rather quickly, but if you have any questions about this or any of the topics that we discussed on the Personal Edge Fitness Podcast, please feel free to contact us at area code 251-278-3343. That's 251-278-EDGE. You can also reach me at Garrett, Garrett, at Personal Edge Fitness. And personaledgefitness.com happens to be our website, and Personal Edge Fitness is our Facebook page. You can reach us on any of those avenues. We're talking today about something you've probably heard about called the basal metabolic rate. Now, when clients are talking to me, they're talking to me about how many calories do I need? How many calories do I need and whatever. You have a basic need of calories. In other words, if your body's at rest, just sitting there, it burns calories. And that's what we call your basal metabolic rate. Now, your BMR is an important number to know. It's a starting point, and you can find it out through several different ways. There's actually a calculation. It's known as the Mifflin-Street-Jour calculation. Now, this deals with height, weight, age, and basically comes up with a basic calculation of your basal metabolic rate, or how many calories you burn at rest. Now, it's important to understand that because this is not what you're going to burn every day. When I say burn at rest, that means your basal metabolic rate is the number of calories you burn if you are not physically or psychologically active. So if you're basically lying still and not even thinking, this is how many calories you're going to burn. Now, to get a better idea of how many calories you actually need in a day, you need to know your active metabolic rate. Now, if you really want to know, there's a Harrison-Benedict equation that figures that out. Basically, it takes your BMR, your basal metabolic rate, and it multiplies it by a measure of your activity. If you have light activity, it's a smaller number that you multiply it by. If you have a medium activity, it goes up, and so on, of course. These things are actually done very easily through several different ways. You can break this down and do the hand calculations if you like. There are several different devices and several different software that actually deal with figuring your basal metabolic rate and your active metabolic rate. Now, why is this important? Well, understanding calories in, calories out is the basis of metabolism. Metabolism is nothing more complicated than calories in, calories out. Now, I've spoken about this before in a podcast that I did on metabolism, and it dealt with all the things that you hear about when you Google metabolism and you find out, sleep patterns and what time of day you eat and what have you. But it all boils down to calories in, calories out. And if you're concerned about weight loss or weight control or weight gain, it's really important to understand these numbers. Too many times when people learn about the basal metabolic rate and they learn that number, there's a danger involved. Too many times people take that number and they say, okay, that's how many calories I'm going to take in. That's it. I'm going to stay there. If I stay there, then I won't gain any weight and I may even lose weight. Well, the danger of dealing only with your basal metabolic rate is if you are physically active. In other words, you get out of bed, you walk to the mailbox, you walk into another room, you walk across the room that you're in. You have changed your caloric needs for that day. And if you are to exist, or trying to exist, only at your basal metabolic rate, thinking, well, if I just stay here, I'll lose weight, I'll stay at this weight, or what have you, that's so much better, I'll be thin. You're actually putting yourself into starvation mode, or what's better known as malnutrition. Too many times I run into clients that are the four-letter word, which is thin. It's not really a good word. The reason I say that is that they are existing somewhere at or below their basal metabolic rate. Now, it produces a light weight, and we think, okay, that's it. Garrett, I don't want to hear any more. It produces a light weight. That's what I'm after. But what happens is you're losing muscle. You're actually gaining fat many times because your body's first job is to keep the body moving, and it's always going to have stored energy. If you starve it, it's going to try to store anything extra that it gets. And it does that by breaking down muscle tissue. It does that by not repairing muscle tissue and actually producing a little bit of fat. You also can end up with skin problems, hair problems, organ dysfunction. Many of these things that when people operate for a long time at their basal metabolic rate and stay there, they end up with these problems like thin skin, where you bump against something and your skin just tears, or bruising that lasts for weeks, even months, or actually things that are associated with arthritis or weakening around the joints, and mainly due to muscle loss. We typically mislabel this as age, AGE. And as you've heard me talk about age before, age is not spontaneous things that happen to us. Age is actually the things that we attribute to age are actually things that we deliberately caused. And staying at your basal metabolic rate or being concerned only about that low number and trying to stay and attain that thin status actually is doing damage to your body and causing these things that we associate with age. So what do? Well, simple. Understanding your basal metabolic rate is important, but far more important than that, especially when it comes to dealing with weight loss or weight control or even weight gain, is to understand your active metabolic rate. Now, like I said earlier, you can actually break a pen and paper out and break your calculator out and start figuring this. But there's a far simpler way of doing that, especially in the year 2021. We have so many different devices and also software that take care of this for us. Now, I know that there are several different modes out there, and you may have a favorite. Mine happens to be Myfitnesspal. It's a very simple app. Anybody can get it on their phone, and it has a fantastic algorithm. So what it basically does, if you've ever signed up for this, after you put in your contact information and what have you, you put in your gender. You put in your height, you put in your weight, you put in your goals, and you put in your activity level. And their algorithm is rather good in that it'll spit out what they feel is how many calories you need to take in. And what they're doing in that algorithm is they're calculating your active metabolic rate. And you can actually find that. You can actually go into the software and simply find, all right, after the information you've given us, this is how many calories we think you're going to burn on a daily basis. And you can actually detect your active metabolic rate. But something else that Myfitnesspal and other softwares do, which is fantastic, is if you have a device that is actually measuring your calories in and calories out, no matter what you're doing, whether you're working out or just walking across the floor. It will take and adjust that on an hourly or even faster basis. It'll adjust it on a daily basis, definitely, because depending on the day, you'll burn more calories or less calories. And that way, you'll know how many calories you should be taking in. On some days that you're more active, of course, you're taking in more calories. And days that you're less active, you're taking in less calories. No matter what, you set up a goal. If it's you want to lose a half a pound a day, or if you want to gain a pound a week, or if you just want to stay the same. It'll make those adjustments all day long and keep you on track towards your goals by understanding and shooting a number out of, hey, this is how many calories you have left if you're inputting your food. Extremely safe way, extremely healthy way, extremely effective way of weight control, weight loss, or weight gain. I cannot stress enough the hazards of trying to stay fixated on basal metabolic rate. Now, this is a quick hit. This is a lot of information really quickly here in 10 minutes. But if you have any more questions about basal metabolic rate or active metabolic rate or weight loss in general, since that's what we deal with on a daily basis, please feel free to contact us at 251-278-3343. That's 251-278-EDGE. You can also reach out to me at Garrett, Garrett, at personaledgefitness.com, which is, of course, our website and our Facebook page. Understanding basal metabolic rate and, more importantly, active metabolic rate. One more way we help you reach your level of wellness.
Thanks for listening to the Personal Edge Fitness Podcast with Garrett Williamson. Subscribe now and be a part of the show by calling 251-278-EDGE or message us on Facebook and Instagram at Personal Edge Fitness or at Team PE on Twitter, and visit us at personaledgefitness.com.